What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sales Stories in Real Life, episode 11. I'm your host, Alex Bruschi, and this is the show where professional salespeople share their story on times that they were in the buyer's shoes and they were sold. Today, we have a very special guest who I'm super excited about. He's an enterprise AE at Asana, who started posting actionable sales advice on LinkedIn just 13 months ago, grew his following to over 40,000. Because of that demand, he started doing one-on-one sales coaching and actually started that a few months ago and has now recently started an 8-week sales playbook cohort where he's doing group coaching. And if that's not enough, he's also doing sales interview coaching. Welcome to the show, Salman Mohiuddin. I hear that you had a really interesting experience getting your roof redone a couple weeks ago. What happened there?
Firstly, Alex, thanks so much. Honored to be on this show. Appreciate the insight that you shared on previous shows as well. And yeah, you're right. I had my roof done recently, and it was a work in progress. It's something that was on my mind. You know, I'm happily married with 3 kids. 3 girls, and it was on our radar for the last 3 or 4 years. We moved into our house about 5 years ago. And, you know, when we got the inspection done before we committed to the house, the inspection, person said, hey, listen, you got to get your roof done in the next 2 to 3 years because it's been about 15, 20 years since the house was built, and it's time to get that done. So kind of put that on my calendar. A couple of years, 3, 4 years passed, and my wife told me, this is the summer. This is the summer. We got to get it done. Let's get it over with. And I literally got it done 2 weeks ago, but that was the process. And so I was sitting back about 3 weeks ago, and, with me and my wife has to remind me 5 times a day to get something done. And when it comes to a roof, you got to times that by 3. So I finally came to a point where I'm like, okay, I got to get this done. Summer's going to come to an end soon, and I'm going to regret it. And I do not want to wait another year. So what I did was, I received a whole bunch of, pamphlets and they're in my mailbox. Every couple of weeks I get, hey, we do roofing. Hey, we do metal roofing where it'll last for 40 years. It'll cost you $25,000. I wasn't looking to make that sort of investment. I said, I just want to get my roof done. I wanted to be done well, and I don't want to worry about it for the next 15 or 20 years. So a lot of times I would look at a pamphlet and kind of just put in the recycling bin, but it came to a time where I had to get something done. There was a couple of options. I was talking to my neighbor, and he said, hey, I have a couple of, contacts that have done roofs in the past around this area. I can shoot them over. I'm like, sure, shoot them over. So by the way, my neighbor is amazing. I'm not a handyman. I'll tell you that right now. I'll have to hire a handyman to change the light bulb around the house. Seriously, I'm not a handyman, but my neighbor is. So he provided a couple of contacts, and I did my own research as well. I went on Google, and what's great was that there was two vendors. There was company X and another one, company Y. I reached out to both. And for one of them, I left a voicemail. For the other one, I caught them live. So for company Y, I caught them live, and it was actually a good customer experience. They went through exactly what they do. They asked for my address so they could check on Google Earth to see where I live, and they said, hey, we actually have done a few houses in your area. I'm happy to kind of walk you through that a little bit. I'm like, sure, just looking for some pricing right now. If you could just walk me through your process. He asked me a few questions. Company X reached out to me after I left that voicemail the next day, and kind of same type of questions and so on. But here's the thing. Company Y said they would reach out to me with a quote within a day. Company Y X said, hey, we'll reach out to you the next day. I didn't hear back by Company X. Company Y reached out to me the next day, provided me a text quote, and I replied back saying, okay, just had a few questions. They said, how about this? How about I come out to your house in the next day or two? I can bring a few samples. I can share some of the houses that we've done in the area and provide you with, kind of that point of view and that synopsis of how we could potentially help. while company X got back to me, but it wasn't very, the process wasn't very automated. They had sent me a text with some more questions. They didn't offer to come out. They didn't offer to share some expertise. They didn't offer to, jump on a phone call to go over some requirements. So, company Y, they came the next day. So this individual who came with very well prepared. He was professional. He, like, without him being asked me, he took out his samples where I could feel the roof, the different shades and colors. He provided insight into like what was needed for me to make a decision. He shared, hey, that house down the street right there? See that one? We did that one. See that house right there? We did that one as well. He made me feel very comfortable that said, okay, people in my neighborhood are getting this work done. And he provided me with some advice. Hey, I think this color would look really good on yours, maybe a little darker than it was today. Can you feel that? See how that feels? That's going to help you with protection. That's going to help you in the rain, in the winter, full warranty available for a period of time. And, you'll get the same level of service that your peers have gotten as well. While company X was just going through phone conversations back and forth. They didn't offer me any on-site experience. They didn't provide me with a point of view around the options that were available. So company Y, the experience was great. And I decided, I talked to my wife that same day and said, let's jump on this opportunity. And, I called them back the next day and said, we want to take it. And I told them directly, listen, we were considering another vendor. Unfortunately, that experience wasn't great. You provided that world-class experience that we were looking for. How soon can you get this done? He said, what if we can do it next week? We have some free time. I said, let's put it on the books. I need to get this done before fall hits, before the weather gets colder. And he walked through the entire process from start to finish. Who's involved? What time are they going to come? What the payment structure will be? Anything that, hey, you got kids? Yeah, I got kids. Well, did they go to school? Yeah. So what you can do is we'll come after you leave so you can get out of your garage and then you can park on the side street. We'll take care of everything. And then, we'll finish, by the time before dinner hits. So there's less distraction. So all in all, that process was very welcoming. The customer experience was good. And I decided to go with company Y versus company X directly because of that experience.
There's a lot going on here, and I love these competitive deals because there's a lot we can extract from that. I mean, you've got speed to lead, right? You've got a referral, right? You got a referral from your neighbor. We've got the hands-on experience. So from a buyer's perspective, what's going through your mind when you're reaching out to multiple vendors and one is just trying to qualify you almost versus trying to help you see the vision, right? So like right away from the beginning, was it clear that you were going to go one direction or the other? Was there ever a chance where you felt like company X could have done something better, right, to maybe save their chances? Or did company Y just run away with it right from the start with their professionalism?
Yeah, I think for me personally as a buyer, whether I'm at a restaurant, whether I'm in a hotel lobby checking in, whether I'm, on the phone with my telco phone provider, the customer experience matters the most to me. You can have the best product in the world. You can have all the capabilities and fancy features, but if your customer experience and your buying experience isn't good or at the level that I expect, I'm just not going to go with you. And the same thing is with sales. Like I say this on LinkedIn often. I say, your biggest competitive differentiation, it's not that you have a great product and there's a couple of features that you stand out versus the competition. That's good, but it's not the number one reason. Your biggest competitive differentiation is your buyer's experience with you and your brand when they evaluate you. That is your biggest competitive differentiator. And I took that to heart. That is the same thing that happened in this experience. If you want my business and most people's business, your experience has to be world-class. My experience has to be world-class. And that was the biggest differentiator, Alex, between company Y and X. Company Y, they were personable. They were very responsible and punctual. They provided their point of view. I don't know much about roofs. I'm not a handyman. I couldn't tell you the first thing about like the different choices of roofs and metal versus other. And I'm like, I need your expertise. They provided that. They didn't come, you know how sometimes you go to car mechanics and sometimes you feel like, are these people telling me the truth? Like, I don't know anything about cars. And the next thing you know, you got a 600 bill on the table. I didn't feel that at all. I felt welcome. I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable sharing transparency that I didn't know about roofs. And they provided all the context. And I actually double checked with that neighbor. Hey, am I getting a good deal here? So you're getting a fantastic deal. You're getting a fantastic deal. And with company X, sorry, I wasn't getting that type of feedback. I felt that I was creating a burden for them. Oh, really? So you need a quote from us? Well, we need these questions answered. That's not a good experience. I want to make sure that that experience provides me with the ability to make that right decision and make me feel warm and fuzzy. I didn't feel warm and fuzzy with company X. I felt warm and fuzzy with company Y. They came out to me. They went over all the steps. They made me feel comfortable. And that's the key reason I went with them, because my buying experience was at another level.
Well, real quickly now, we're already on episode 11 of Sales Stories in Real Life. And one of the most common themes that I keep noticing is that as a seller, you've got to have a point of view. And this is one time that we're really getting to dig into customer experience. So I'm really curious, because what really impressed me is that not only were they extremely responsive, not only was the speed to lead there, and they said, hey, we'll come out in person, but they actually had the materials there so that you could feel them, so that you could touch them, right? It wasn't they came by and they're showing you pictures on their phone, right? So like, how does in that moment, right? Like how comfortable was that making you? Like how was that helping you see the vision, right? To actually have it there, to touch it, to feel it, to have that person there that's willing to ask your questions. What was going through your head during all that?
What was going through my head, Alex, is that I was putting my feet in the customer's shoes, similar to like how you're in sales and I'm in sales. We do demos for our customers. I'm like, wait a second, like we show all these demos to our customers and they see the value, they see, that you're showing them. But what about when I give them the keys? Like they need to experience it themselves. They need to feel it themselves. They need to play around with it and feel that warm and fuzzy feeling. They need to have that white glove experience. And that's something that I really take to heart. I want to make sure that my clients, my prospects have a world-class experience when they're evaluating it. Not just me showing the demo. Hey, you want a pilot or trial? Sure, we can do it. Here are the steps that need to happen. Let me walk you through it. Let me hold your hand. Let me give you that white glove experience for you and your team. That's differentiated. The same thing happened today on a demo. Like, I'll be honest with you. I had a demo today with a customer. They said this experience has been unbelievable. Your vendors, your other competitors haven't shown this type of experience. And my boss was on that call as well. So the same thing with this experience. It was hands-on. I felt warm and fuzzy. I felt comfortable giving thousands of dollars to this individual. I put my trust in them. And this trust was built in a couple of days, right? Because they came into my home. They shared that expertise. They shared that point of view that you alluded to, that point of view. Like I have a 4-step process when I start a point of view. It has to be relevant. It has to solve an actual problem. There has to be a value statement and there has to be a call to action. They provided all of that. The relevant point of view was, hey, you need to get your roof done. There's a need for that. And we have something relevant to show you, which is, a point of view here. Number 2 is that they knew the problem I was facing. They understood that I needed to get something done soon. And they kind of listed out how they could resolve that problem with their value statement. And the call to action was, hey, listen, we know you're on a tight timeline. We're happy to move some things around and get this done for you next week. So they came in with that point of view that was relevant and got me to commit.
This is a perfect segue for all of our B2B sellers that are watching. So let's just say there's an SDR, AE, enterprise AE, right? That's watching right now. What can they take away from this, right? When they're doing their daily sales role, what can they take away from this story to help portray to their prospects, to their customers?
Yeah, I think there's that thing that I mentioned before. The one thing that you can take away is that your prospects, they expect their experience from you to be world-class. Like I said before, your biggest competitive differentiation is not just the product that you're selling and the capabilities that you have. It is the experience that your prospect has with you and your brand. So if a prospect comes to you showing interest, make sure you provide that world-class experience. I shared this on LinkedIn a few months ago, Alex. I said, what can you do? Respond to inquiries within 24 hours. So if you have a meeting with the customer, send a follow-up note within 24 hours outlining exactly what you spoke about. Make sure that when you have meetings, you kick it off with something that's relevant, that piques their interest. Focus on the problem versus just the solution right away. They can smell this desperation. You know, make it virtual and in person. So if you're going to provide value in a demo, make it hands-on, make it specific, make sure you're understanding their problems and really showcasing how you're going to provide value by overcoming those challenges. Things I've done in the past is like little things like, hey, if you're booking at a lunch with a customer or catering something, reach out to all the key individuals and ask them, hey, do you have any dietary restrictions or gluten-free restrictions? I did that with one of my biggest customers and they appreciated that. All these little things contribute to a differentiated experience, and that's what your prospects will remember.
That is so good. And speaking of the little things, I actually forgot to bring this up earlier. Even once they had gotten the deal, right? They said, hey, when we come by and do the work, let's do the work while your kids are at school, right? Hey, let's make sure you have time to move your car, right? So they mix that in there too. Salman, this has been amazing. And you're absolutely right. These are points that you pound home on LinkedIn all day long. So you are absolutely the person to deliver this message. Why don't you take a quick second and plug something with the audience? I know that you are working on quite a bit and we're all excited to hear about it.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me share my story. A couple of things: you can follow me on LinkedIn. Obviously, I try to post as often as I can on a daily basis. Number two is that I've started a 8-week sales cohort where I'm doing group coaching, where it's an 8-week program where I'm walking through my entire playbook, everything from prospecting to signature and everything in between. And the first session is underway. The next session starts in early November. I do one-to-one sales coaching and I do sales interview coaching as well. One thing that I've developed that differentiates sales interviewers from the pack is that I built out a territory plan where if you showcase your 30, 60, 90-day plan or 6-month plan of how you're going to attack the territory, you will stand out from the pack in every interview. If you look at my featured profile in my feature section, you can access that territory plan. I do sales coaching as well, interview coaching. So that's a bit about me.
You heard it here first, folks. Give your customers a world-class customer experience. Make them feel all nice and warm and fuzzy. And if you do, maybe you can have results like Salman one day. Seriously, this has been so amazing. Know everyone will love this episode. It is a wrap. We will see you all next week. Thanks again, Salman.
Thanks, Alex.